actually built these cranes. These small ones would have been built down in Lavernia. Once you get into the 20s and above, the tons, those are built out of Houston. Occasionally, we do have some people that build out of Oklahoma, just for logistics, if it's going West Texas, New Mexico, crap like that, you know. But these right here would have been built in Lavernia. And then Lavernia would have installed these, and then my buddy Chris is the one that came up and started them up. I think he was up, I don't know, 4 months ago or something. I don't know when it was. They do the start up, the load test, set the limits. That's why you see, first thing I did, run it to the ground, you know, make sure you had those limits set. So, with that being said, if I cover something, or if I don't cover something, feel free, just say, hey man, I got a question. I'm easy to get along with, I don't care. There are no stupid questions. I know you've heard that all your life, but I'm telling you, when it comes to these, there is no stupid question, okay? So first thing, probably what we'll cover is we'll do the operation here, and then we'll backtrack to where the disconnects are. And I don't know what HEB's policy will be or anything like that. My question to y'all would be, so y'all are working on these trucks here, I'm assuming you're pulling motors, maybe lifting ass end up, pulling rear ends or something like that. Do y'all run 24/7?
Yes.
It is 24/7? Okay, all right. So that's good. In that, if you're not gonna run 24/7 and somebody's gonna be gone, say you got a long weekend, a holiday or anything like that, recommendation would be to turn the power off. Just in case there's a freak storm, especially up this way. You know, storm comes through, hits a transformer or something, and you get a lightning surge. Even though the disconnect is supposed to capture that, sometimes it doesn't capture everything, and it will come onto the hoist. And since these have VFDs, they're a little more finicky than just straight contacts, what the old schools are. So, if you're gonna be gone Christmas, long weekend or whatever, I don't know what y'all stuff is, but if you're gonna be gone, it's just a good practice just to put these up, turn the disconnect off, and then go with it. You don't wanna turn it off at the end of every shift, because then somebody's turning it, racking in, racking out. You're just gonna wear that disconnect out down there, okay? All right, so this is your pendant. This will have all your controls on it. This particular one, the bottom ones are your up, down. Then the 4 that are here in this little cluster, they're your directions, whether you're north, south, east, west. You'll have your north and south here. The way you're oriented is for the bridge to run back and forth. One thing that you should do is, if you're not actively using this hoist during the day or whatever, I would recommend just depressing the E-stop. What that does is that kills the control voltage. There's still main power coming to it and everything like that, but it just helps in case there was a little power surge or something. It's got like little 5-amp fuses up there. You know, every once in a while, a power surge would get one of those or something, but it takes quite a bit to capture that. So you're gonna walk up, you're gonna take it. This is a push-pull. To maintain, you have to pull it to start it. There's gonna be about a 10 to 30 second delay. When you wake it up, that VFD's got to wake up. I'm sure y'all are accustomed to dealing with the trucks and computers and all that stuff. You can't just turn it on and go, you know. But once everything accommodates and it's there where it's going to be and everything, then you'll get your functions, okay? Another best practice would be is to always store this all the way up. Now, I know sometimes you can't, you know, you're up, down during the day, but at the end of your shift, before you leave and give it over to the other crew, I would run this all the way up. It's just one less thing that gets bumped into, run into, something like that. Y'all might want to look at putting like a magnetic hook or something to where you could run this bridge down and it could always come back and, you know, hang on the side. That way this thing's not somebody driving in. We have a customer down south. One of the big things they do is they always leave this down, and it's right on the edge of the bay. It's a frac company, and if y'all have ever dealt with anybody in the oil field, them boys just don't care. You know, when they drive that truck in, it gets caught on the mirror, it goes to the end, they rip this off. They got smart and they said, hey, we'll put some remotes on these. They put the remotes, well now they leave the remotes on the ass end of the truck and the truck drives off. So, you know, we're constantly down there. So, we walk up, we've turned this on, turn it off, we'll turn it back on. It's in the up position. We'll let it wake up. I run, while it's all the way up, I would run my bridge functions first, bridge and trolley. You're gonna get your east and west. Again, this has a VFD, it has stops over there, so if you hit those stops, it's gonna bump. The good thing about these, it's got the rubber bumpers on, it's not gonna BAM! And everybody comes out of the office and all that kind of stuff, okay? However, if you're on that side and you run it all the way over here, it'll get you a pretty good jolt, but it's not a loud crack or anything like that. So you would just typically want to run this. You don't have to run it all the way to the end, all the way back. You just want to make sure that your buttons are working, none of the contacts are sticking, anything like that, okay? Now, before you make your lift, now that you've made sure the functions are working and all that kind of stuff, the hook is in the up position all the way. That means all that cable is stored on that drum up there. It's nice and secure. It's not getting a bunch of dirt on it and stuff like that, you know, or getting hung on anything, okay? But you'll want to let this, see it's in slow right there. So when it's all the way up, or when it gets to down, it should slow down before it gets there. These particular models have it's called an S1, S2. Once it gets, it's got like a fast speed, and when it gets close to its upper limit, it'll slow down. Well, it's slow up and down until it gets away from that, almost like a proximity switch, okay? But every shift before you use this crane, now, if you inspect it and you know, you're using it over here and I say, hey man, can I borrow it? And I come over here, I don't need to re-inspect it, okay? But from night shift to day shift or day to night, your first use, you ought to inspect this. Run it back and forth, check your hoist, your trolley, stuff like that, okay? You're gonna wanna run it all the way down. It'll stop, it's there, okay? Quick visual is just to stand here, look up your wire ropes, just make sure there's no kinks or anything like that, okay? I don't know if y'all can tell from where y'all are at, but where this wire rope goes up, it goes into that black, that's a rope guide. I don't know if you can see that, it runs along that bar on the bottom. What that does is it actually rides in the groove, and it makes sure that that cable always stays in that groove as it goes around and around. What you run into is, if you're not careful, it's not going to be on this particular one. It's not going to be your north and south. It's going to be your east and west, your traverse. Okay. Watch this. We'll do what you're not supposed to do. We're going fast. Now, you see how this hook, it's not swinging a lot, but it is moving just a little bit. Now imagine you put that motor on there and you're going across and you're going fast. Once you put a load on here, you should only move in your slow speeds, okay? Take it nice and easy. Because what you don't want is you don't want this hook with a load on it moving like this, and then you go up. Because what it does is it moves, you have your grooves up here, and even though you have this guide, when that wire rope comes up, if it's swinging side to side, it's not bad running north and south. It's gonna be your east and west because it's sitting like this, okay? And when that hook goes to moving, your wire rope is doing this, okay? It'll get off and it'll jump, it'll break that. And then what it'll do, it ruins the wire rope, and you're not gonna be able to use it because 10 out of 10 times it puts that in a bind up there, and then we come in, we have to cut everything out with a grinder, and we take it apart in little pieces. So when you're, again, now, if you're moving north and south, it doesn't matter. And the reason it matters, but it's not as important because this is moving the same way that the grooves are, right? So you're up and down, it's just gonna go up and down, it's gonna hit the grooves, okay? But, so once you've done your pre-inspection, you've done your travels, north, south, east, west, you've inspected this to make sure there's no kinks or anything like that. Next thing you'll do is to make sure that your latch here, is nice and operational. What you don't want is you don't want it to where it'll come back and it gets stuck back, or it's just floppy, it doesn't latch. Because when you put your, whatever y'all's lifting devices are, whether it's a chain sling, a rope sling, whatever y'all use here, what you get is when you're going down, if this doesn't come back and securely keep it, then your lifting device can potentially come off here. Or you won't notice it and it come up and it ride on the point of the hook, and then you pick something up and it just happens to be perfectly balanced, and then it falls off. You got a load on it, okay? The other thing that is a good recommendation if you're doing, let's say we're picking up this cord reel here or something, then if I'm the operator, but it's to have tagline or something like that on it, okay? But your operator should not be the person that's doing your spot load. Let's say we're pulling that motor out over there. I don't want to pull that motor by myself. I don't want to sit here and go, oh, which button, oh, up, down, you know. It should only be, I'm the operator, you're the load spotter, whatever y'all's terminology is or whatever, and you should work in tandem. The other good rule is,
how about you, Cody?
the person that holds this is the person in charge. I don't care if it's male, female, whatever. Boss comes out, I'm still the person in charge. If the boss wants to say something to me, then the boss should get my attention and say, hey, we need to stop for a second. Okay, we'll stop. But I hold this, I'm in control. If you ever owned a boat, it's my boat, my rules. Don't know how y'all do, but that's the way it is in my boat. You know what I'm saying? Clothing's optional, my boat, my rules. All right. But you don't want to be the operator, try and lift that up, and put your hands anywhere on the load. If you're operating, you stay back a safe distance, operate it, pick it up. If you need help, hey, can you come over here and spot me? You know what I'm saying? All right. So, all that said, kind of covered a lot right there. Any questions so far? Okay. The one time that I would say it's okay to put your hands on it is on your pre-check, is if you'll put your hand right here, and you know, I'm not gonna move my hand, it's right here. And you run it up and down just a little bit. What you can do is you can feel those bearings, just like if you were listening to an idler pulley or something like that. You know when the bearings are going out, if it's got a little roughness in there or anything like that. The other thing is, you spin this, it should spin nice and free. Again, back and forth, you'll be able to tell if those bearings are going out of their one. In this environment here, our grandkids will be working here before these bearings go out in this environment. If we were at a rock quarry or something, then yeah, it'd probably have about a 2-year life. Here, this will probably have about a 3-year life, depending on how many times they stuck it in the mud, you know. Any more questions? Oh, come on, guys. Nowhere near them.
How far does it go? Like, will it stop wall to wall or?
Yeah, that one does.
That one stops at this column line here. This one here will go wall to wall.
I know it's probably just an angle. I'm trying to see if we can hit that.
What's that?
That other line over there.
Oh, the airline, or are you talking about that black line up there?
Yeah, whenever you leave, I was just gonna move it anywhere.
Well, let's just move it. Over here. I mean, if we're gonna mess it up, let's mess it up while I'm here. There's a lift out there, you know. We can put it back together. It's close. It's definitely at the minimum. The minimum is 3 inches. So it doesn't matter if it's a light, a sprinkler system, or anything like that. It should be above the top of that beam. Should be 3 inches. The other thing, we're talking about moving the load. If you pick that motor up in that last bay, and you're on this side of the bay, and you go to that wall, and you go fast, that load's going into that wall. Okay? I'm just telling you, when you stop, especially when you get to the stop of the runway, because then it's a hard stop. It's not, I let off and the brake catches it and it slows down. If you're 10 feet away and you hit the go button and you run it into that building stop down there, that motor's going into that wall. And I don't know how much paperwork y'all have, but I can assume probably quite a bit. I'd say, as a good practice, I would find where this lined up, where you could find some place to put on a column. But that's just from experience, knowing what people do, okay? Let's walk down here and look at this disconnect just for a second, so you know where the power supply is. So these disconnects, this is what I was talking about. If we get into a long weekend, holiday, you know, if y'all get those, whatever. But anyway, all you have to do is just turn it out. That's it, okay? Now, if you're working down there and you go, hey man, go turn the power on. I turn the power on. Remember, I turn the power on, that means power goes to the control box. You pull the red E-stop, then you still have that 10 to 30 seconds to let those VFDs and everything wake up, okay? All right. I would personally only turn these off if you're going to be gone for a long weekend. I don't know, but anyway. So this is our inspection sticker. So if your safety people come out, they have a record. Somebody, I don't know where that record goes, but somebody has a record of when it was inspected, any deficiencies we found, and then any corrections that we did. We take pretty good pictures. I'm not gonna say we take the best pictures in the world, but we do take good pictures. If we say, hey, you know, there's a widget up there, we take a picture of the widget, we take a serial number of either the hoist, the bridge, something like that, so everybody knows, hey, this was the issue. Then when I come back, if I come back and fix it, I take a picture that says, hey, this is the way it was when I got here, this is the way it was when I left. That way, it's just quick. Whoever deals with safety, you just can go, hey, here it is. It's on the computer, whatever. This is just a visual for when the safety comes out. You can go, hey, there's a sticker. There's an expiration date right there when it's no longer valid out of inspection or anything. I don't know how particular y'all are by the date. I used to work for GE. Theirs was to the date. This is January the 8th. On January the 9th, I was not allowed to use that hoist. But I don't know what the policy is here. But anyway, it has our contact information right here. This 210 1001 number that goes to Brandy or our dispatch, and she can set up something, whether it's immediate, somebody needs to stop, drop, and roll, or hey, can we come see you tomorrow? Or you know, if y'all just call and schedule and say, hey, I noticed my inspections are going out in January, you know, but she's probably calling first part of December, sometime between Thanksgiving and first part of December. She's going to be calling whoever that person contact is, setting it up, going, hey, January your stuff runs out, you know, and then we'll come up here, we'll do your inspections, move on. Questions? Okay, let's go over here and mess with this one just for the heck of it. I mean, we're here, right?
The speed for the, is that like how far you put the button in?
Yes, so
It's variable like that?
So it runs on the VFD, so I don't know who set the speeds for y'all. They're feet per minute, but yes, you can, if you push on that button, you'll feel it, you'll feel a detent, and then you go up, going down. This one, let's see, high speed. So this particular model is, you can go from 0 to fast. At any point between 0 and fast, if you find a speed that you like, and you got, let's just say there was anything in here and we've got to take that one from that end. We don't want to be super slow, but we don't want to be so fast. You can feather the button, and as you use it, you'll feel it. And when you go all the way down, you'll go to your 2-speed, you let up, come back to your 1st speed, it'll maintain that. Let's just say it's 0 to 50 feet per minute. If you want to set it at 25 feet per minute, once you get to what's comfortable, you let off of that high speed and just stay in low speed, and it'll maintain that speed anywhere between 0 and high speed, whatever that high speed is, okay? So the trolley does the same thing. You hear it pick up, you can hear it pick up, but it'll maintain whatever you want. The only time, I'm telling you guys, the only time you need to use high speed is you want to go from here to there, or from over there to over here with nothing loaded. As soon as you hook something on it, you need to know, only your low speed. I don't care if it's up, down, north, south, east, west, only low speed, okay? Because y'all do pick up some pretty good stuff here. Somebody will get hurt.
When you talked about how hard you push it to go fast and then you can feather it, that's so you don't have to white out the whole time?
Yeah, that's so you're not, yes.
Cramp it up one
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, the good thing is y'all aren't going very far or very high.
Right.
The place it comes into is the waste sewage plants, where they're going, you know, from up here to 80 to 100 feet down, pulling motors and stuff like that. You're white knuckling. I mean, you know, especially if it's slow. Some of them only have a slow speed, so you've got to hold that button all the way down. And when you look at these, so when you look up, it looks like this wire rope has a bend in it, but it doesn't. It's just it's a shadow on that grease or the dirt. So if you look up and you think, hey, this thing looks like it has a kink, you'll know when it has a kink. But what you guys are doing here, no higher than you're going and no farther from bay to bay, I doubt y'all ever have an issue with the wire rope, especially getting a kink in it. And as long as, again, we're not moving the east to west with a load at a high speed, you're not going to mess up anything on that rope guide up there, okay? One thing that y'all might have a small issue with is these pendants. These are durable. I mean, these here, we can use them as hammers. I don't recommend it, but if you needed to in a pinch, you could love tap something, okay? The issue will be is if we're over here and we're not paying attention and we're shooting the shit or whatever, okay, fine, and you let it go. Well, now it's into your truck, whether it be a windshield, a mirror, whatever, because they are pretty hefty. I mean, there's a little bit to them, you know. So if they've got that swing and that flop to them, they're gonna hit something, even if it's just your friend, you know, and you accidentally let it go, you know, it'll get their attention. Right? You've been awful quiet. Okay. All right. Go ahead and raise this all the way up. right. More questions? That's what you'll get when you run in. And if you have that motor and it's about here, it's gonna take out those panels. All right. More questions? What you got? What are you thinking? What you got?
I know you said pre-check on all this stuff. Do we need to be looking at, you know, the other rails or anything? I know it's just a rail, but
No, because the only reason that would give you an issue is if you had that motor and you were going this way, swinging it. The outside is your ground bar, so there's no issue of getting shocked or anything like that. These collectors, no farther than you're going, no faster than you're going to go. These are not going to give you an issue. Now, we will inspect them when we come in once a year. We'll get up there, we'll look at them, make sure everything's good. So you notice that it has two, they call them collectors, one on each side. That's because these are VFD driven. So if you were moving down through here, we have like a cement company, like where they build culverts and stuff like that, where it's always so nasty and crappy in there and a little corrosive. If they run a single collector on a VFD, as it goes down through there, any corrosion or anything, if that thing bobbles a little bit, it loses power, so the VFD thinks, oh crap, I lost power. What does it do? It defaults to shut down. So the crane constantly turns on and off. So that's why they run dual collectors, so that you maintain that 100% electricity and you don't run into an issue of that VFD won't drop out. But in this environment, you're not going to have any issues with any of that up there. You're not going to be able to get into it. There's nothing in here. But if you wanted to do a pre-check, you know, I mean, by all means, you know, and you would be able to run this and just, you know, I wouldn't recommend walking and looking up at this because you're never going to know what you're going to get into. But if you just wanted to stand here, run it and run it down, the only place that would probably ever give you a problem would be at the little black at the splices right here, where it's orange and it has that little black plastic cover on it. But once those are installed, they snap into place, and man, they're a nightmare to get out. It's not like they pop out. So that rail up there, so you inside of that orange bar, that orange and the green is just an insulated cover on the outside. Inside of it is it almost looks like a figure 8, and it has a set of pins in it, and the pins are about 2 1/4 inches long. They're actually about 4 1/2, 5 inches long. But half of it goes in one, half of it goes in the other. It takes a big long tool to press them together, and they're knurled. And once they go together, it's a bear to get them apart. You have to beat them apart. So once it's installed, that stuff there is pretty much 100%. Okay. Want to go look at the one on the roof?
Let's do it.
That's not us. That's facility.
That's for facilities?
Facilities? Okay. All right.